Paul says that when we belong to Christ, we become new creations. Not slightly improved, not cleaned up and polished versions of who we used to be. New. See, Paul isn't talking about a surface level change. He's talking about something deeper, something transformational. It reminds me of something that I've experienced recently when I decided that it was time to refinish the original hardwood floors in my house. I love original hardwood. The grain, the beauty of the hardwood isn't matched by the laminate today. It was one of those projects I needed done for years and been putting it off, so we're gonna do it. The previous owner had put laminate flooring over the entryway and the dining room. I already knew the living room had hardwood, so I peeked under that laminate and I saw hardwood. Awesome. Just a small project. A quick fix. It'll be easy. Redo the floors, maybe repaint some walls, replace a little dinged up trim. Nothing major. But, as often happens with renovations, once we start opening things up, we discover a little more. See, there wasn't really original hardwood under the entryway and dining room. It just happened to be under the corner that I peeked. And that was it. Beyond that, then, the dining room subfloor had water damage that the previous owner had just laid flooring right over. The entryway was uneven, raised nearly 1 inch in the middle. So my contractor goes into the crawl space to adjust the jacks and see if we can get it to level out a little bit, where he found a crawl space covered in mold. And he found the bathroom floor sinking. And he found mold going up the wall between the bathroom and the dining room.
I got all of these phone calls.
She got all of the phone calls. When he tears out that whole wall of my house, we find wiring that was done incorrectly. At some point, I don't remember why, but at some point my contractor was in my attic and found that the bathroom vents had never actually been vented.
You got a lot of relatability going on out here.
Just gonna refinish the floors. So I thought, what started as a small renovation suddenly turned into something much bigger, including my dog and I living with my parents for 2 weeks. If you've ever done a renovation project, you probably know that sometimes that's just how it goes. Because sometimes the problem isn't the floor. Sometimes it isn't the paint. Because sometimes what looks fine on the outside is hiding something deeper that needs real repair. And honestly, sometimes that's how God works in our lives. We come to Jesus thinking it's maybe just about a little improvement, a little peace, a little forgiveness, a little encouragement. But God's work goes deeper.
Come on.
The resurrection isn't cosmetic. Jesus didn't come to cover the broken pieces. He came to restore them, to tear out what's damaged, to rebuild that which is weakened, and to make something, to make us entirely new.
Come on.
Paul says the old is gone, the new life has begun. That's not surface level language, that's transformational. And it takes us all the way back to the very beginning, to the first creation in the Garden of Eden, where humanity lived in perfect relationship with God. But then sin broke in and things became fractured. And that's why Jesus did what he did through his broken body and his shed blood. He made a way not just to forgive sin, but to restore and make new that which was broken. And isn't it interesting that Jesus' body was laid in a tomb in a garden? Because in that second garden, God is doing a new kind of creation. Not just forming humanity, but reforming us. Taking what is old and making it new. But just like a renovation, It's not always quick. It's not always as easy as we think it might be. And like renovations, resurrection begins not with certainty, but often with disruption.
Come on.
The women, their lives were disrupted. The guards who fell over, their lives were disrupted. The disciples who met the resurrected Christ and were just living about their lives, they were disrupted. And sometimes when God starts opening things up in our lives, we discover there's more going on than we realized. Places that need healing, patterns that need changing. But the good news is that Jesus doesn't walk away from that work. Just like he met the women, Jesus meets us. He stays with us. He rebuilds. He heals our brokenness. He binds our wounds. Jesus loves us completely and unconditionally and continues forming and shaping us into something new. So the question of Easter isn't just, do you believe in the resurrection? The question is, are you allowing the resurrection to change you? Because Paul says we are now Christ's ambassadors. God is making appeal through us to the world, which means that this new life, it's not just for us. It's meant to be lived out, to reflect Jesus, to point others to Jesus, to invite others to come back to God, and not just with our words, but also with our actions. That's the invitation of Easter. Not just to believe the resurrection, but to be made new by the risen Christ.